Then into the 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and yesterday, the 28th of February. So most of these days were occupied with the CPAC conference, which I'll tell you about in detail, the Conservative Political Action Conference, which took place not far from our Priests for Life headquarters right over here in Orlando. But first, on the 23rd, I was here at the office. I had my final physical therapy for my shoulder in the morning, graduated from that therapy series of sessions, and it went very, very well. I am able to essentially be back to normal as far as that goes. And I did the early mass that day too for broadcast, work in the studio before dawn, and work at my desk as well, getting ready for this big CPAC conference at which I was a speaker. Let's see, I did then our usual morning staff and administrative meetings and briefings. And then it was a pretty busy day of meeting with various members of the team to keep advancing various projects. For example, meeting with our political outreach associate who also was part of the CPAC conference. We had to get ready for that. Meeting with our finance department, meeting with our broadcast team that morning too. All of this was in the morning hours between the briefing and lunchtime. We had a meeting about the metaverse. This is a new version of the internet that is being developed and is partially functional right now. And we're the first in there as far as the pro-life movement is concerned, doing presentations and creating resources to make it possible for more and more people to get the pro-life message in even more powerful ways. So all those meetings were prior to lunch. I prepared some talks and prepared some broadcast material as well. Had lunch, had some email correspondence right after lunch, and then at 2 o'clock I went into the studio. One of the things I taped was a pro-life message for the 40 Days for Life. Now, I know many of you participate in this marvelous effort of prayer and fasting throughout the world and witness in front of abortion facilities. So I taped my annual message for the 40 Days for Life participants and leaders. Then I continued taping a number of spots that we use for Right Side Broadcasting Network. Then I continued taping a special spot for Heartbeat International, the network of pregnancy centers at whose conference I'll be speaking later on in a few weeks, and some other taping for Right Side Broadcasting. Right from there, I went across the hallway into the radio studio for a 3 o'clock 30-minute interview with a Cleveland Catholic radio station. That went very well. And then I went back to my desk. Had to catch up on some more communication with pro-life leaders, follow up to the meeting that we had here in our headquarters, as well as preparation for upcoming events. Had a quick dinner. In the evening, we had the Good Shepherd call. So at 7:30, after some additional phone calls with administrative staff, at 7:30, I jumped on a Zoom meeting right here at my desk and had the Good Shepherd call, which is clergy. We bring clergy together on Zoom meetings regularly to talk about the best ways of ministering the Word of God and the healing of God in relation to abortion. That was an hour-long call, 7:30 to 8:30. At 8:30, I had to do a little bit more office work before leaving for the conference. I signed some cards to donors for their birthdays. And let's see, I had a few more things to get pulled together here in the office. Then I drove over to Orlando and checked in at the hotel where the CPAC conference, the Conservative Political Action Conference, was taking place. Checked into my hotel room and settled in for the night. The next day, Thursday, the 24th, the conference got underway in full force. One of the things I was asked to do at the conference was to offer Mass each morning. And that was a great joy to be able to do that. And so I did. Let me get my schedule here from the conference and let you know a little bit more about some of the details of what took place, because it was action-packed to say the least. I had interviews all day long after doing the Mass, networking for the people. So because I was a speaker, there was a speaker's lounge. And in the speaker's lounge, of course, all the other speakers would be passing through: senators, members of Congress, political leaders, former officials of the Trump administration, campaign workers that we worked with during the course of the campaign. Any kind of conservative political leader, this conference is a who's who of such people, and you're likely to see them there. And I did. And so I spent the day not only there in the speaker's lounge, but out in the hallways greeting people literally nonstop from morning to night. From the time I got up to the time I went to bed, literally nonstop. And Media Row. In other words, they have media booths set up for all kinds of television, radio stations, podcasting, and internet broadcasting. And so I went from one to another. But before all that got underway for the bulk of the day, I said the opening prayer for the conference at the main stage at the first session. And that was a privilege to do that. Then I had, for example, right away from there, went to the Right Side Broadcasting booth for a pre-conference interview there, looking ahead to the day. Had an interview at 10:30 with the Liberty University at their booth, and at 11:30 with Tim Constantine. I'm sorry, that was, let's see. Those were the Friday interviews. Yes. So Thursday, as I said, was the networking throughout the day with the various participants in the conference. And then Friday, I said the Mass again, interviewed with RSBN again, and then had these other interviews that I just started to mention. Students for Life was there, interviewed with them. A number of reporters that know me that were just walking through the hallways as I was, interviewed them at various stops along the way. 5 p.m., a great interview with AMAC. Some of you might be members of AMAC, and continued networking all that afternoon and into the evening. Then on Saturday, same thing. The Mass in the morning, interview at Right Side Broadcasting, and then a series of interviews throughout the day and networking with people, speaker's room. And that night, of course, President Donald Trump was with us and gave his speech, which was just electrifying. You could watch it on our website, and we had interaction with so many different leaders who had come to listen to that speech. Sunday morning, February 27th, got up and said the Mass again, the fourth Mass for the conference attendees, after which, again, more interviews, networking in the speaker's lounge, in the hallways, at the Media Row. It was just so high energy, and I met so many great people I already knew in many cases, and other people whom I was meeting for the first time. Lots of collaborative efforts are going to come from the time at this conference. Conference went right up until about 3 in the afternoon, at which point I jumped into my car, drove back to my office, and spent the rest of the day working at my desk here at the office, because I had to, first of all, catch up on what had taken place here in the office, reading updates from staff, preparing for the work of the week. And then I had to take all the contact information that I had received from various people and begin inserting that into the different work going on here with our team. So, for example, people who said that they wanted to interview me after the conference, or people who said, whom I said I wanted to interview on our programs, lining up all this information so that our team can follow up on it in the coming days. So I was at my desk then the rest of Sunday afternoon, and then in the evening took some extra time for prayer and rest, and then went to bed early, got ready for Monday, yesterday, the 28th, when, of course, I reconnected with the staff at all the morning meetings after doing the early morning Mass, pre-dawn, celebrated that Mass, taped it for broadcast. And then, after the staff briefing, let's see, I had conversation with some of our administrative team, various meetings through the course of the morning, really lasted all the morning up until lunchtime. Had lunch at noon, did some more work at my desk at 1 o'clock, had a travel meeting with our travel coordinator and our executive director, looking at invitations for me for trips coming up, confirming those various trips. Then at 2 o'clock, back into the studio. We did a taping for Right Side Broadcasting and a couple of other tapings. 3 o'clock, a quick meeting here with some staff, and then 3:30 back into the studio to do an interview with one of our friends in the MAGA movement. In fact, she might be watching, Christy Moore. You'll see that interview. And then right from there, went into a meeting with our website and technology and administrative teams at 4:15. Another similar meeting at 5 and at 6. Then had some dinner, and by that time I was ready to go to sleep. Actually, went to bed early because I had started so early in the morning. So that brings us through February 23rd to the 28th, the CPAC conference. Absolutely great. Watch the videos from that. If you go to Right Side Broadcasting Network, rsbnetwork.com, you'll be able to see them. Okay, so good to be with you. And thanks for watching these daily diaries. We'll talk to you.